never show. Never show.
Shadows loom, we plant a seed. The sun comes up and the flowers bloom. Truth shall be freed. A journey unknown, from ocean sides to the center lines, we'll find the answers never
All right, everybody, welcome to a Crimes After Dark show on, hell, is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday, right? Oh my gosh, like I lose track of days. Yes, by the way, in case you haven't known, we are not only Idaho 4, although we are a kind of a flagship Idaho 4, but we got Delphi, Indiana. We like basically expose fuckery in all kinds of cases, including the video that we had today with Rex Heuermann, and the new lawsuit filed by Attorney John Ray. I had a video about that and about whether or not the family should be able to make money off of living with a serial killer. How about everybody buy my stuff and talk about my life with a serial killer and move into the bedroom of a serial killer and all those weird things. We talked about that in the video today. Hope that you give us a shot on some other content as well. It really helps us out to try to teach YouTube that we're not just Idaho 4. However, we will talk about Idaho 4 tonight because I know that's a lot of what you come here for. So let's get the panel on stage. We are missing some people tonight. So we're missing one for tonight, but we do have JJ from State of the Deep. We got Robin. We're going to bring those up on stage right now. I'm missing one of my mods because my wife's not backstage for modding, but we will assemble this panel right here. The lovely triage. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Hello.
How's it going, guys? How's it going, denizens, mods, TA, Robin?
JJ, welcome on in, everybody. Good to see everyone here. Love to see all your bright, shining, smiling faces out there.
I feel like I got an REM song, Shiny Happy People. Is it REM that did Shiny Happy People?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Shiny happy people.
Holding hands. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I got REM in my. It seems like the B-52s did some backup vocals on that or something. I don't know. Anyways, that is some old school throwback music right there. I feel like that's part of our identity, though. We kind of have some
they were so huge in the 90s. Remember how big REM was? In the
REM
90s?
was huge. Yeah, they were huge. Yeah,
they were. Well,
yeah,
they were
REM,
actually
yeah.
late 80s.
Yeah,
like because I remember they were.
So were the B-52s.
Probably right too. After high school,
right.
They were like the biggest band in the world.
Yeah. They were certainly. Is it Michael Stipe that was REM?
Yeah, he was the singer of REM.
Pulled that shit out of my ass right there. Holy crap. I'm telling you, we need to get some more music trivia going. All right, let's talk a little bit about, this is a great night, by the way, if you're in the show and you want to come up. Look, we got a lower panel, lower audience. Great time for you to come up on stage, ask your questions, or just make sure that you put it in the thing so our mods can pin it on screen and we'll talk about it. Nothing's off the table. Almost nothing's off the table. I would like to say nothing's off the table, but almost nothing's off the table. I feel like there's probably going to be some line somewhere somebody's going to cross. But anyways, there's no monologue tonight because we don't have one. What else do you want to tell us? You want to give us any announcements? You want to talk about your announcement later, or you want to talk about it now, Robin? Or
it's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Do it live. Do it now.
All right, we'll do it live. Okay. So, as many people do not know, but back in January, I had decided that I wanted to begin a channel concerning the missing and murdered Indigenous women in this country, and also expand that to all Indigenous people, really. I write Native American stories. I am not Native American. I want to say that clearly. I am not, a pretendian. I am not part of the community. I do, however, consider myself an ally. I have Native American friends, and I write Native American stories, Indigenous stories, and through the extensive research I have done, I have come to understand what a problem this is. The statistics are just astronomical. I'm not going to bore you with those details at the moment. That's what my new YouTube channel is about. And I will be putting out my first video not tomorrow, but next Wednesday. I will announce a time. I'm still finalizing the time I'm actually going to release it. But my first case will be the Emily Pike case. So,
nice. And I think
awesome.
Today the reason I'm wearing red is because May 5th is National Day of Remembrance for missing and murdered Indigenous women and Indigenous people in general. So that's what red signifies, because for Indigenous cultures, red is the color that spirits can see. And so that is why the symbolism of a red dress is
I didn't know that.
Because, yes, it's calling to the spirits of the missing and murdered, so that those spirits can come home, and or those people can come home if they would still be with us in this life. So So thank you, Lee, to letting me, announce that this evening. I really appreciate your support, and yeah, thank you.
That's awesome, Robin. Can we talk
Yeah.
about that stuff for a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. CrimeCon, by the way, I'll let you talk, but CrimeCon also has a special on murdered Indigenous women this year at CrimeCon as well. I'll try to get some notes on that for Robin. But would you have a?
Yeah, well, I've mentioned this before, but since, it's pertinent now and I think it's related. Like, I live in the Southwest. A lot of people think Colorado is in the north, but it's in the
No,
Southwest. The reason why we get a lot of snow out here is only because of the elevation in the mountains. If you go, people think like Denver's in the mountains. Denver's not. It's Mile High City, but it's not in the mountains. I live quite a bit higher up than Denver. It's been snowing here for 2 days, by the way. Um, but so that I've ridden my motorcycle all around the Southwest, and I would do long motorcycle trips, sometimes by myself, like 1 to 2 thousand
Oh
mile
yeah,
trips.
yeah.
And in those trips, I have done a lot of riding through different reservation areas, and like Navajo Nation is a big one, and areas all through the Southwest in Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona and Utah. So I've done a lot of riding through those areas. And several years ago, I went on a 2-week motorcycle trip. And I went basically from Colorado through the southern part of Colorado. That's where it really starts getting into more like the desert mountains, into New Mexico to Santa Fe, and then Taos, and then from there, I basically went all the way across New Mexico into Arizona, and from Arizona up into Utah, and then back to Colorado. And on that trip, I was by myself, and I rode for a long period of time through the Navajo Nation. And it was something, and it was you're alone, so you're in a more reflective headspace when you've been riding by
Yeah.
yourself for hours. And it struck me how sort of depressed a lot of those areas were. And particularly parts of the Navajo Nation where New Mexico and Arizona kind of butted up together. And a lot of people that looked, very underserved, obviously, those communities. And when I would stop to get gas, use the bathroom, get a drink, because it was, it's hot as hell out there in the summer, there would be a lot of people that looked like they were having problems, like a lot of people at these rest stops, and beautiful rest stops, by the way. They take amazing care of their, the Native American owned rest stops are beautiful, but a lot of the people congregate there,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of substance abuse, and a lot of sort of downtrodden people. And that trip made a big impact on me, because when you're alone, again, you take things in more.
Right.
And so when I got back, I started to, kind of want to research that stuff a little bit more. And then I read that book, The Killers of the Flower Moon. And that's about and that's more focused on specifically in Oklahoma. But it really opened my eyes to things that I was aware of, but I hadn't really seen it up close and personal to
Right.
that degree.
Right.
And that trip really, so through that, I started to sort of learn about that stuff a little bit more. And I have a cursory knowledge of it. I'm not an expert on it, but it's been an ongoing, long time problem in this country, where these people have been marginalized. And we all know the story about what happened with the Native American communities and going back to the settlers and the
Yeah.
pioneers. But I mean, there's countless documentaries and books written about it. And
Yeah.
I encourage anybody to dig into that stuff. And I know the Killers of the Flower Moon was made into a movie, right, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
So yeah, that's an awesome cause, Robin, and that's a great idea for a channel. I mean, that's a heavy subject.
Yeah. It's one that's near and dear to my heart, I guess you would say. Just because of all the research that I have to do for my books. And please, people, this is not an advertisement for my books. I'm not even going to advertise them. I mean, here, that this isn't the space to do that. So that isn't what this is. And this is something I've been thinking about doing for a while. And in fact, I've talked about it in like our Discord and over in Dago's Discord, um, uh, things like that. So this has been since January, something I've been thinking about doing, and just finally at a place where I had the time to actually put in the effort and actually get it done. Don't expect the video quality to be super. It's just my phone. It's just my phone, and so some graphics and things like that. But what's most important is just bringing the cases to light. So.
Very cool. Well, I hope that it goes well. We'll advertise it and hope that it reaches people. I mean, I myself live in an area, and I don't want to turn this into a downer. I live in an area as well where Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce was basically driven off this area, and we have a beautiful, beautiful lake, and they had beautiful salmon, and white men came and kicked them out of their place, and now we all live in their land. And it's sad. Like it's a bittersweet. It's the most beautiful country ever, but the lives that were lost as people just came in and decided, we want your shit, so you get to leave. It's a horrible thing that we've done. So it's yeah, and I have to live with that everywhere I am at. This whole place is just surrounded by Native American heritage, and it's not usually a good story. We're getting an echo, by the way, from somebody. I'm not sure where it's coming from on the side, but I'm hearing myself echo.
Yeah, it's not me. My mic is isolated.
Me either.
Weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Do you hear it too?
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
Is it me?
I don't hear it.
It's probably sometimes it comes if you have your earbuds have mics on them. Sometimes you'll get bleeding.
Oh.
Well, again, let's take it to so thank you for that, and I'm glad that you did that. And like I said, if I get some notes from CrimeCon, they have a package in CrimeCon that if you don't make sessions, you can pay a fee to be part of CrimeCon HQ, which lets you watch all of the sessions you missed. So I think it can get you access to I don't hear myself echoing anymore. I did hear echo a minute ago, but I don't hear it now. Do you guys hear it?
Maybe it's okay now.
Yeah, but I did hear. But anyways, I can maybe get you a copy or access to that presentation in case you want to check it out. Let's put the link out there for people to join us backstage. By the way, are you familiar with the phrase "Hooray, hooray for the 8th of May"? That's probably not appropriate for the conversation, but
no.
Okay. Well, apparently it was so. Yeah.
Is that like from the movie V, where it's like remember if you saw that movie, V is for Victory, whereas
I did see that. Yeah.
Talking about Guy Fawkes.
No, but so it's funny that nobody's heard this, but I people around here know. Hooray, hooray for the 8th of May. It's National Outdoor Intercourse Day. It is a nationally recognized day.
Of course, in Oregon they have that.
So hooray, hooray for the 8th of May, but we're not there yet. Maybe we'll do something special on our show for the 8th of May. But
is Lee still echoing?
No, I don't hear the echo now.
People in chat are saying that you're echoing.
I know, but then other people said it's good now. I don't hear it now, but then I got another Leah says Leah's echoing. So I can leave. I'll just fucking leave. Hey, I'll just fucking leave. Actually, I think if I leave, you guys can keep the stream going. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Beat it. So, Robin, when are you launching your channel officially?
The first video won't be tomorrow. It'll be next Wednesday. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what time yet, but I'll keep everybody informed this week as far as when that will be exactly. What time. So, yep.
That's great. I'm gonna drop another video on Sunday morning again.
Yay!
This coming Sunday. I got it all ready to go. I just have to record my part, my dialogue and stuff like that. I'm gonna try once
Mhm.
I get everything more dialed in to do 2 or 3 per week that I'll
Yeah.
pre-record, and then once I get a little bit better with everything, I'll start to have you guys. I'll have guests.
Yeah.
And we'll start to do different stuff and pick. We can all put our heads together and we'll pick specific topics, which I have tons written down, different topics. But I got to
Well,
get
your
it.
first video was excellent. So,
Thanks. Yeah,
yeah.
it was cool. It wasn't horrible. I think it was pretty good. I appreciate everybody's support, but I'm gonna keep it going. This weekend was a little nutty with my sisters in town, so I was so tired I didn't want to record another episode and be like totally out of it.
I can understand that, but no, we'll all be looking forward to that. That's for sure. So if you guys have not checked out JJ's channel yet and watched his very first video, you need to because it was excellent. So can't wait to see what all you're gonna get into next week.
Oh, I got a great one, man. It's gonna be 2 main topics, one small topic and one big topic. And there's gonna be some funny stuff in the beginning too that I think people will
Cool.
dig. And I'm gonna change my little thing on the bottom here where it says my X account and put my YouTube account because
Yeah.
I don't really use X as much as I used to. So
Yep. Good deal.
Hello. Am I echoing now? Am I
Hello.
echoing now?
Lee, you're
You sound
muted.
fine to me.
No, I'm not muted. Are you kidding me?
No, you're not.
I'm not muted. Yeah,
You
he's
muted
fine.
all of
No.
us.
All right. So we're off to a hell of a start. What do we got do we got any comments, questions? You guys want to talk about the video today?
Can you
Talk
guys
about-
hear
Oh
me?
my God,
I
your
can't
video
hear you
today was
guys.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
Now he really can't hear us. He wasn't kidding. He actually said we
Oh.
muted him.
Really?
JJ, can you hear us?
And
JJ
that's
can't
so
hear
weird
us.
because my internet had just all right.
What the
CIA,
hell's going
what's
on with the
going on
show?
here?
There-
Come on,
Oh, no.
my internet was just down. That's why I disappeared. What the frig?
We can't win. You lost your internet. I had an echo, and now JJ's lost complete sound. So what the hell with the show? This is a
my
this is a banger way to start.
I'll tell
All
you.
right. Everyone yeah, I could hear JJ when he was talking. Apparently he can't hear us. So
Yeah.
anyways, did we put the link out there for somebody that
I
wants to join us? Or okay.
Yep.
I feel like I need
Yes,
a drink.
join
I'm not saying alcohol. I think I just needed like something to wet the whistle. The 3-letter agencies are watching. More than likely.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, oh my gosh, did you see? Oh yeah.
Amanda.
Pull it together, panel. We're trying to get our shit together at the moment. JJ, can you hear us? Yeah, you can't hear us because he's still like fumbling.
Nope.
He's reboot the mother effing computer. You got to reboot. All right. So I don't know what's going on with JJ. You know what I'm going to do? Can we kick him off the stream?
I was just gonna say, put it in the private chat. He can't hear us now. Oh, he's gonna go and come back.
Did he say that?
No, he just disappeared.
I just booted him. I just kicked his ass off the show. I don't want to sit there picking his nose and not realizing he's still alive. He might do something really horribly embarrassing if I left him on there for too much longer. So I just kicked him. Hopefully, make sure you send him the invite code again in case he doesn't have it. But we'll hope that hopefully he will figure out that he hasn't been kicked off the show. He's been temporarily rebooted.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I saw Harsh Reality had some kind of episode today about Olivia Gonzalez shitting on Brent Turvey, and I guess he was really picking on her because she called him Brett Turvey, because I don't know who the hell Brett Turvey is, but she's picking on some guy named Brett Turvey, and Harsh read the 17 or 18 page resume of Brent Turvey and all his credentials to counter her saying that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about and should stay in his lane, basically parroting Ann Taylor's statement. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, people are so spun up. And we saw that one video, some lawyer coming on telling Christopher Whitcomb, if you want to have some real questions answered instead of these softballers that keep giving you YouTube interviews, then come to me because I got the biggest channel of all except for Brian Enton, and her channel's smaller than our channel. So I don't know where she comes off with. She got a bigger channel, but
it's just
nuts. Wild. Yeah. JJ, can you hear us?
Now I can. I lost you guys for a minute there. I had to
I'm telling you,
go out and come back in.
She's a twunt. A twunt? That's a good word.
Twunt? Oh, I like that. Okay,
that's a cross between something and something else. I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can cross those two words together.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know what to really, like I said, I don't have any particular topic. I wished I would have been able to get some clips from Harsh Reality's clip. We could play some of it live if you wanted to, if we got nothing else to do.
Let's do it live.
We'll just see if we can get away with some of it live, because I thought it was interesting. Yeah. If we can do that.
He always looks amazing.
Yeah.
All you beautiful people out there.
You're looking amazing.
How he says that when he starts his show off. You're looking amazing.
Right. I don't know how you do it. You look amazing. It's a long running shtick of his, and it's pretty funny. The first time I heard it, I was like, "That's clever."
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do.
I'm getting squirrely again over here with my StreamYard.
Oh no.
Are you getting squirrely?
One of my favorite videos that Harsh ever did was with him and his son, and they are testing, doing taste tests of different candies.
Guys, I'm gonna have to try to refresh because I can't hear you guys again for some reason. I'm getting a weird disconnect.
What the hell is this?
Somebody up there doesn't want me talking.
Wow. All right, make sure we have our link for people to join us, because this would be a great time for somebody to join us.
Yep, let me throw it out there again.
Give me a second. I'm trying to find a spot where we could watch this. Give me 1 second. We're trying. Yep. Wow, we are really having a low quality start to tonight.
Hey, if we can't, it just adds to the laughter. I mean, everybody likes to laugh at people. They can laugh at us. It's okay.
Harsh is the only one that tells me I'm beautiful, Marty Kuhn says. Well, I'm so sorry. Yeah. You look absolutely amazing today. Have I told you that?
That's
I don't know how you do it. You look absolutely amazing. Yeah. So there you go.
There you are.
All right. So he's good shit. So I'll see if I can play a bit of his stuff. Again, doing it live is the tricky part. I would love to have done this ahead of time, but I was out all day long today. So let me see if I can pull some of this up. And JJ, add him to stage. We'll take off the parental advisory. If you don't know by now that you need to have you need to check with your parents if you want to watch this show. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see if I can play this a bit here.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Brent Turvey, right? Brent Turvey, Ann Taylor, Olivia Gonzalez. Yes, Olivia Gonzalez. Why is she even in there? Because look.
Notice this. So he says, not fucking Brett Turvey, whoever the fuck that is. Because apparently, I guess, Olivia Gonzalez is ripping on Brett Turvey and can't even get his name right, and basically acting like he doesn't know anything about forensics, which he's going to counter by showing just a little bit of Brent Turvey's resume. So anyways, let's play this bit.
Ever since Christopher Whitcomb come out with this book, which we spoke about in video 1 earlier on today, there's been this this issue around the crime scene itself, and suggesting that this crime scene was cleaned up, and
by the way, I do want to, like, again, we need to stop often if we're going to be ripping off somebody else's content and commentating. It's mostly so that we can show what he said and about Olivia Gonsalves. But yeah, so the book has caused tidal wave of opinion because of the cleanup issues. And Olivia apparently feels qualified to tell the guy who she can't get his name right that he should shut the fuck up because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's what's crazy. Like, who is she to be telling a doctor of forensics who's written books and have been in a million different trials as an expert witness that he doesn't know what he's talking about? But she, from her armchair and her new law passed about not real see victims, knows more than he does, apparently. Like, it just, the audacity, it seems like, of everyone in this, that people are losing their mind in this case. They're not even being rational. It's just absolutely crazy.
It is.
You look absolutely amazing. It just takes me back to Saturday Night Live. You look marvelous. I don't know if you look marvelous. You have to be a certain kind of age. Remember, you look marvelous. You look marvelous. Anyways, JJ, can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
No, he can't. Look at that. He's just staring at it. He's just staring like a freaking kitten at a toy. Just, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. Joe, he's really, really, really having some issues. All right, let's play a little bit of it while we're waiting.
You know, Brent Turvey's come out and he's spoken, and that has met a massive amount of backlash in mainstream media. And Taylor has crawled out from under the fucking rock that she's been under since Brian Coburg and pled guilty to these.
And by the way, again, I'm just going to do this in bits and pieces while we wait for JD to get his collective shit together. Why is it that Ann Taylor has been silent the entire trial in any kind of public statement? And the only thing she does is come out to shit on her own expert witness, along with her other attorneys signing it. It baffles the imagination. I don't know what's happening in this case. Cy Ray's book now coming out. Everything seems like it's being timed very weird. You know, you got Broken Plea coming out. You got Cy Ray's book coming out, which isn't all about Idaho 4, but apparently there's a large portion about Idaho 4. And so the timing of things that are happening in the next few months is just, I feel like it's getting to be crazy. All right, JJ, can you hear us yet?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And now I don't know.
We can't hear him. Wait a minute.
That's hilarious.
He's got himself muted. JJ, you're muted. Oh my God.
I can't unmute him because there he goes. Now he's unmuted.
There we go. Hello?
Now I can't hear you.
And we heard you, and then you muted yourself. My God, it's the most difficult thing.
I don't know what's going on. I think it's either something with a cable or my StreamYard connection is funky.
That sucks.
Wow.
And I'm assuming you flat out rebooted, right?
Yeah, it might just be something with my. I have a separate audio interface, so I'm not. It could be something with like one of the cables or something like that.
Well, at the moment, we've got two-way communication. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I didn't mute myself either. It just muted me.
All right. I don't want to spend a lot of time on every word that he said, but I'm going to skip forward here, I think, to this.
He doesn't hold back. But so let's head over here first, and we'll head over to this is on Christy Chaos's community.
So what he's showing is a post from Olivia Gonsalves, creator. That's the post. And she calls him Brett Turvey. That he makes a lot of fun of the fact that she can't, as she shits on him, she can't get his name right. But let's listen to this
feed where she shows this post that was a video upload, I believe, probably on TikTok, because everybody around this fucking case has become social media fucking superstars in the aftermath of it. If they're not doing stuff on social media to make money, they're doing other fucking stuff to make money. This has been the most.
I thought, by the way, that I had the record for most F-bombs on YouTube, but I think Harsh might actually be giving me a run for my fucking money. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue with this real quick.
Most monetized murder I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it in terms of actual family members monetizing it. But look, It is what it is. That's the world we live in now. Sound old, don't I? Brett Turvey, unequivocally broke his NDA in sharing case materials, and
by the way, I want to clarify this right now. I believe Olivia Gonzalez does not have the right to say what she just said. That Brent Turvey, whether she can say his name or spell it right, broke his NDA by sharing files. Nowhere in the book does Christopher Wickham say that Brent Turvey is the one that gave him the files. He had a conversation with Brent Turvey about what was in the files, but he didn't say, I got the files from Brent Turvey. And this is the second time. Ann Taylor has alleged that he gave Christopher Wickham the files, and now Olivia is saying he gave him the files. And I don't believe anywhere in the book he reveals who his source is. In fact, he tells you he's not going to tell you who his source is. So they are all assuming that Christopher Wickham's source is Brent Turvey, when in fact it could be that Brent Turvey is simply commenting on what Christopher said. Hey, look, I got these files. What do you think about it? But these people are calling him out and flat out saying, Brent Turvey, you broke your NDA and gave him files that were not meant to be disclosed. You don't know that he did that. And I wonder if Brent Turvey has a lawsuit to file back if he can prove he's not the one that leaked this information to Christopher Wickham, because they're all assuming he's the leak. And nowhere did he say that he's the leak.
What people
that goes to defamation of character.
Yeah,
I mean, they're maligning his professional integrity.
I mean, is anybody surprised though? There's so much drama that comes from the G's. It's like it seems performative to me. Like they don't really care. They haven't. It seems like they've been co-opted and they have an agenda, and that's all they care about. I mean, just look at how Steve flip-flopped. 1 minute he's pissed off in the beginning about his speech being infringed upon, and then now all of a sudden they've made steps to infringe on people's free speech and the freedom of the press. So. It's just it's drama. It just seems like drama. That's like every time you turn around, there's drama. They're more interested in being social media influencers. If you're worried, if you care, if you're pissed off that people are talking about the case, don't listen. Just go about your life. You keep putting yourself in the spotlight.
And Brent Turvey responded to Ann Taylor saying the same thing Olivia is that you violated your NDA and showed files. And his response in public was, in my 30-year career, I've never violated a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't do that. So Brent Turvey has already basically said, I'm not the source of this leak. They're calling him out saying you're the source of the leak because your name appears in the book. And he's like, in my 30 years, I've never violated my NDA. So you're wrong. So it's really super interesting. Anyway, let's continue a little bit about this.
Files with a man partially responsible for the injustices of Ruby Ridge and Waco to write a fan fiction book filled with embarrassingly false assessments of
and that drives me nuts. She's calling Christopher Wickham's book fiction, fan fiction. This is what. Look, I don't want to attack the family, but this is bullshit that they get to continue to do this to us. If we have questions about what happened in the case, we're called murder fans. You're fans of that murderer, Brian Cooper. We're not fans of fucking anybody. We're fans of truth and transparency. We're fans of trying to find out what actually happened. And you constantly shaming us like we're fans of a murderer because you've convinced yourself that he's the murderer, and therefore anybody that says, hey, this case looks like bullshit, now we're fans of a murderer. The whole thing is bullshit. And that book is not a fiction book. It's full of facts. HarperCollins can be sued. Christopher Wickham can be sued. And they wouldn't write it if they didn't think they know that they can prove what they said. It is not fiction, in my opinion. Now, we'll see. Will they get sued? I don't think you're going to get sued.
Well, what did I say? No. I said this book's going to come out and the Gonzalez family is going to go nuts because it threatens their lawsuit.
And it threatens their companies they're forming and everything they've got. It threatens the WSU lawsuit. It threatens the Kaylee Gonzalez Foundation. It threatens all the big money things they've got in the works if it turns out that Brian Koberger wasn't the guy or didn't do it alone. making the argument there's multiple perps doesn't exonerate BK, but for some reason that family seems to think it does. Right. And by the way, I'm glad that we have some interaction. This is what drives me nuts as well. Somebody pointed out to me the clever wording. Clever girl, like they love these wording, consistent with a K-bar knife. Not saying it was a K-bar knife, consistent. Here's another thing Bill Thompson had said, somebody, and I don't have the quote, so you guys need to correct me if you think I'm wrong. Bill Thompson didn't say that there are no accomplices in the murders. What he said was they found no evidence of it. That's different. You understand the difference between that? What he said was, we found no evidence of accomplices. It didn't say that there couldn't have been accomplices. They just didn't find any evidence. Just like they only found a speck of DNA so small that you can't see with the human eye as their only piece of evidence against one person. So them saying we couldn't find any evidence of alternate suspects doesn't mean that they don't believe that other people were involved. It just means that they couldn't find any evidence to prove it. There's a big difference. Right. And again, it's the fuckery of the language. People think they said the cops said there was no accomplices. That's not what they said, apparently. What they said was they didn't have the evidence that there was other people. And there is a difference. Right.
Which is why words matter and how you use them matters.
Catherine Carpenter, 4677, Harsh has some good questions that I don't think he'll get answers to. And the Gonzalez's have made Kaylee's death their income. And it's crazy sad. Kaylee was barely talking to them at the time. Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't want to attack the family, but what bothers me is the family is attacking everyone in true crime for questioning the facts in the case, and there's a hypocrisy when they're literally making money hand over fist and becoming heads of corporations, and they're being faces of big lawsuits, and their $500 million lawsuit on the line, and then shaming everyone for talking about it while they themselves. And look, I think Christy is trying to say, we haven't made a dime off this. Really? I mean, so all of these foundations, I'm sure, are completely nonprofit, and you're not taking a salary off of it and whatever. That's another fuckery we do in this country. It's a nonprofit. So when I pay myself, $4 million a year, I'll still call it nonprofit. I didn't make any profit. That's just my salary for running the company. It's not like a profit. It's just, there's all kinds of ways to dance around the game and act like I didn't profit from it. I just get a $4 million salary to run the foundation, or whatever the case may be. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just, there's an element a thread that has run through this entire case of performative, peripheral people that have capitalized on what happened. And in my opinion, if you just want to get on with your life after a tragedy, you don't put yourself in front of the public constantly or become spokespeople for organizations directly related to the crime, and then you don't file lawsuits and then get angry at anybody who questions the official narrative because it might threaten your lawsuit. You're going to draw more attention to yourself. Just, I just don't understand it. That thread since the beginning of this case, it's just something is off and in the big picture. And it seems to be more and more apparent to me the further on we get with this case.
And I want to highlight Kathy Indiezone's comment about Hippler basically suggesting that the leak that came out, Dateline NBC leak that came out, he hinted it was from the prosecution's side or law enforcement. And I agree. I believe the leaks, even I believe the leak to Christopher Whitcomb is coming from law enforcement or the prosecution side, which that might shock you, but here's why it shouldn't shock you. Even good cops don't like bad cops. So if somebody in law enforcement knows they were fuckery, but they don't want to just sit by and watch bullshit, some of those people, even on the law enforcement side, might be coming forward to whistleblow and say, this is fuckery. I was on the inside. I saw what happened. This is bullshit. I'm not going to stand for it. So don't think that this has to come from the defense's side. This could be coming from the side that put him in jail, because not everybody on that side may have been okay with what was done. So, right. Lucy Morningstar, anyone else remember the time Steve Gonzalez said, once the perp is convicted, you won't see him ever again? Weird. We still see him. Yeah, that's an interesting comment. There's a lot of interesting comments. There's a lot of do you remember, by the way, I just have to do this as a aside. because I've been talking about Brent Kopacka for the longest time. I was stunned. I don't talk about it much. At the change of plea, when Kohberger was pleading guilty, or taking the plea deal, I should say, Steve Gonzalez didn't come in. I think at first he didn't come in. I think for that he came in for the witness impact statement, but he didn't come in for the plea. And outside, he said, "I already know what's going to happen. That the defense is going to blame this on a vet." A retired vet kind of thing. And he was making reference to Brent Kopacka. He literally at the last second was saying, "Oh, the defense is going to say that he did this with an accomplice and it was some vet and whatever." And I'm like, holy shit, he just talked about Brent Kopacka without saying Brent Kopacka's name on the steps of the courthouse. But nothing was heard about. So I'm not sure Steve knows what the hell's going on. But anyways, home engineer. Yeah, all right. This is the problem with the case not going to trial. Everyone agrees on that, even Steve Gonzalez. I can't believe if Brian Kohberger knew about the chain of custody, he would not have taken a plea. Yeah, I mean, many things tell me that the family, especially the Gonzaleses, were upset about the plea deal because I think they were promised more people were going to be put away for it. And at the point they decided to go with the plea deal, then he got angry and said, fine, if you're going to take a plea deal, then you better tell everybody it was one guy and one guy alone, and you better make him say he did it by himself. Because if you're not going to have a trial, I'm reading between the lines what he said. So this is not what he said. I think Steve thought, he kept hinting, wait till the trial happens. You're going to be shocked what you see at trial. I think Steve Gonzalez thought multiple people were going down and other accomplices were going to be brought forward. But when they effed the families and took a plea, he said, then fine. If you're going to make a plea, then make him say he did it by himself so we can put this to, because what Steve didn't want is forever ad nauseum us talking about the people who got away like we're doing today. But other people got away. And Steve didn't want that. So he said, fine, if you're going to take a plea deal and you're going to screw us out of all the people who did it, then make him say he did it alone so that we aren't sit there forever waiting to get the rest of them. Because I think there's a part of me that thinks Steve knows there's more people involved. That's my personal
And I
opinion.
think that's still a part of the reason, maybe in Steve's mind, again, this is just an opinion, that they wanted to bring the WSU lawsuit. Was he thought maybe there was a chance that it could go to trial and they may get some more answers.
It's one of those questions about whether or not they're playing 4D chess because again, the Gonzaleses have left open the possibility of suing Moscow Police Department. So they had to file that very early. They had a certain amount of time in the very early stages to reserve the option to sue Moscow PD. The Gonzaleses, as far as I know, still have the option to sue Moscow PD because they notified them, we may sue you in the future. So if they go to trial in the WSU case, and during the WSU case, and I realize this might be crazy to think this way, but if the WSU's defense is, okay, you're blaming us for not stopping Brian Kohberger, but so therefore we're forced to prove to you it wasn't Brian Kohberger, or at least it wasn't Brian Kohberger alone. Therefore, we couldn't have stopped it. If that comes forward, it would then leave them the option to countersue Moscow Police Department. Hey, you fucking lied to us. I thought you told us it was one guy. Now we just lost this lawsuit against WSU, so now we're coming after you. We're getting somebody. We're either getting somebody to pay for it because it was one guy, or if it comes out that it wasn't one guy, we'll come back and get you for lying to us saying it was one guy. One or the other, we're going to get our payday. So it feels like that's what's happening.
The two things that I have to say about that is, as I've been saying, I think we're going to see some other things play out down the road. Maybe if there's something happens with the WSU lawsuit, or if it's settled, I think we're going to start to see more lobbying for other types of legislation that are going to be that have been stirred up by this case. That's what I predict. It might not happen for a year. It might take a while, but pay attention to that. And in my opinion, it's very possible that the Gonzalez family was approached by some people and they were told this is what the angle is going to be, because I still believe there was an operation involved. And I think that they are being directed to do the things that they're doing. Otherwise, maybe I see a lot of people in the chat referring to, they're looking to profit off of it and maybe even get their own show. They want to get as much exposure as they can because that's what happens. I mean, I'm not going to name any scenarios, but certain people who were supposedly involved in the periphery of these high profile crimes that all of a sudden become activists, and they get into
Right.
politics and
Mhm.
things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that happen.
Yeah, and I want to comment on Kathy Indiezone's comment here. The WSU in their first affirmative defense says other people were responsible. I know what you're talking about. I would my memory, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but my memory is it was a little bit more carefully worded. What I remember was they basically said, we're not convinced this was done by one person. So they kind of hedged their bets. They weren't necessarily saying it was done by multiple people. What they're saying is I think they said there may be evidence that more than one person was involved, which kind of stunned a lot of people. Like, holy shit. And again, that's why I said, is WSU's move going to be to prove that there was more than one person involved? Therefore, your lawsuit against us that Brian Kohberger could have been stopped is false because it wasn't Brian Kohberger, or it was Brian Kohberger and others, and we couldn't have stopped the whole group of people. So, and if that's the case, it opens a can of whoop ass. Will they actually? Will they be forced to fight a $500 million lawsuit and say, now the counter to that is here, and this is what gets complex. The counter is WSU themselves isn't going to pay that bill, right? It's the taxpayers of Washington State that are going to pay the bill. So if the government doesn't want the truth to come out, will the government just say, well, I guess that's just a loss that the American people are going to have to pay. The citizens of Washington State are just going to have to pay that $500 million settlement to the Gonzalez's to make them go away, because we're sure not going to have the fucking truth come out in this matter, and we're willing to pay it because, you know what, we're not really going to pay it anyways. The taxpayers of Washington State are going to pay it. So I don't know. Maybe that's cynical, but
yeah. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah. So FOIA and find out. Yes, WSU. So again, I would say the devil's in the details. WSU said that they agreed Brian Kohberger pled guilty to being the person who did it, and he did it alone. What they essentially agreed to was the statements of fact. The fact is Brian Kohberger pled guilty and he said he did it and he did it alone. And they restated that fact. We agree. Brian Kohberger said he did it and he did it alone. But they also hedged their bets by saying, we're not convinced that there's not other people involved. And so that's where I'm saying It's both. They factually had to agree with the statements of fact. It is a fact Brian Kohberger pled guilty, and they conceded that. We know that Brian Kohberger, and we don't argue that Brian Kohberger pled guilty.
Well, I think their biggest argument would be that even if they agree that he pled guilty to it, could they have stopped it? Could they have done something or did they allow things that allowed for this to happen? Right. So it doesn't really matter. I don't think in this particular case, whether he's guilty or not, because whether they had some dominion over his actions, I think is the crux of what the argument would be, isn't it?
What do you mean? Say that again?
Like the whole argument is that they could have prevented it. They didn't intervene at some point in his behaviors. So that it's not that he's guilty. It's just that could they have done something to prevent it? Or did they allow him to get away with things that led to him being able to commit the crime?
See, and that's the thing that I don't understand. Okay, say that they had found fault and whatever, and they actually fired him. Well, what if he hung around the area and did it anyway? Like even after being fired, are they still going to sue? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that they think that. I mean, they did an investigation. Now, whether or not they're trying to say that the investigation wasn't thorough enough, maybe that's the angle they're coming at. But to somehow place all blame for Brian's actions or perceived actions, or I don't see how that. I just don't understand that.
Mark and Betty asked, why was Green in the law enforcement press conference? I don't remember if Green was or wasn't, but I'll take your word for it that he was. And therefore, if he was, I'll tell you why. The reason why is because University of Idaho and Moscow Police Department has a master services agreement that states if any crime happens involving students of the University of Idaho, the University of Idaho must be notified immediately, and they're allowed to be oversee all of the witness interviews, all the investigation, and be part of the whole thing. So Green had the ability per contract, because it was involving students of University of Idaho, to be at every step of that investigation that he wanted to be in. Good question and observation. Kathy Indizone, the Title IX claim, though, that's the federal claim that got the case removed. It's not just negligent counts. WSU doesn't want their Fed money messed with. Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's big money. We're talking, I think the lawsuit against WSU is $400 and something million.
Yeah,
right?
$400
half a
million.
billion.
Yeah.
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 Right. And look, I know how ththings work in this country. They'll settle for probably an amount undisclosed, and the payoff will happen. We just won't know what it will be. Because the settlement allows them to admit no fault. We're not saying we did anything wrong. We're just going to go ahead and pay you to go away because we don't want to have to explain what happened. So that's more than likely how things work in this country. WSU will fight. The Gonzalez and actually it's not just the Gonzalez's, the families will fight it out right up to the point that it's about to go to a trial. And then moments before it goes to trial, they'll reach a settlement for an undisclosed amount, and it'll never go to trial and nobody will see the details. That's exactly how that's going to work out, in my opinion, but I hope I'm wrong.
No, I think you're probably right. That's why I haven't paid that much attention to it, because I know that's probably going to be what ultimately happens.
Yeah. I know, because I recently was involved in flying clear across the country to Kentucky to watch a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit. And literally they had the jury being assembled downstairs, getting ready to give their instructions to come up and start the trial. And the two sides reached a settlement literally within 5 minutes of the jury being seated. And the jury was said, thank you for your time, go home. We've reached a deal 5 minutes before going. We don't have trials in this country very much anymore. Well, we settle things for undisclosed amounts, and everybody goes their way and nobody admits fault, so that they can continue to do business as usual without having admitted fault to anything. Because it's cheaper. It's cheaper than losing a potential trial and then having your business shut down.
Yeah. The legal system has really just become a moneymaker all the way around, between the lawyers and the courts and the prison systems. Let's not forget that. The private contracting prisons that are paid to house the prisoners. So if those places no longer have prisoners, they're not making money either. So it's this whole cycle.
I have a request. Amanda sent it. It was in our chat, and I guess I missed it. I don't know the details, so let me read this in word for word. FOIA and Find Out says, Devil's Advocates, can we take one moment for Athena Strand, a 7-year-old, kidnapped and murdered by Tanner Horner, a FedEx driver. He was sentenced to death today by a jury of his peers. So I don't know about this case in particular, but do you guys know about that case?
I remember I'd heard about it. I remember hearing about the case, but I never followed it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the case, unfortunately. I'm just reading the comments to see if there's any follow-on questions on that. And by the way, we can send that link out again for people to join us on stage if they want to. We have a very, very low panel tonight, so it's a good opportunity to come up on stage if you'd like to. We can roll the dice, see how it goes. Don't put any porn on my screen. We've already had that happen once, so let's try to avoid that.
Don't need anything like that again.
Yeah. It's a horrific case.
Okay, I put out the link out there. So
I don't want to talk too much about a case that I don't know, because I'm afraid that if I just pull up a summary on it, that I'll get some detail wrong that I don't know. You know, and what's funny about the plea deal with Brian Koberger is that we're still now arguing about who actually offered the plea deal. Was it the prosecution? Well, the defense came and asked for a plea, and now we're being told it was the prosecution that actually approached the defense saying, we'll take a plea. And I say at the end of the day, it's a moot fucking point. A plea only happens if both sides agree. So it doesn't matter who approached who. Both sides have to agree to it, and the other side could tell them to pack sand. So at the end of the day, I don't know that it matters, but here we go, because everybody made a big deal. The guilters made a big deal that Brian Koberger threw in the towel and asked for a plea deal, and then it came out later on that Bill Thompson's the one that asked for the plea deal. So I don't know if it matters at the end of the day because both sides have to agree. Sausage Biscuits, you guys got to convince Thrive Off the Grid to jump on the panel. He has some amazing cell phone research. Holy shit. He figured out the contact added at 351. We've been getting emails, by the way, on the contact added at 351. Very, very technical shit. So I don't know if it's the same person who's been giving us stuff on the backside, but it's very, very technical. And I don't want to get it wrong, but it had more to do with, well, shit. I don't want to misstate it. It was suggesting that Dylan could have been with Molly, and that the whole thing was something to do with Molly's phone being in contact with the house. And right now we're back to that fucking echo. I got a huge echo again.
Yeah, it's got to be you, DA, because it's not happening with Robin. So
No.
it's got to be you're getting a feedback loop with your headset and your mic.
Why tonight? And I rebooted too.
Do you have microphones on your earbuds?
Yeah, but they're not turned on.
Well, they're not turned on, but it doesn't mean it's impossible that they're not picking shit up and bleeding.
Yeah, nope. It's picking up. The mic input is my thing. I don't know. I'll talk quieter. Maybe it's just when I talk loud. I don't know. I never had this problem before tonight, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Is it echo cancellation?
Tonight's weird.
On?
See, it's gonna affect my mojo. I gotta mellow out, because if I start talking loud, apparently I'm gonna echo. What else do we have? Read the summary first, and people will get it right away.
See, like I see people in the chat, like Right Turn Clyde said, plea bargain is not a win. And again, what I've been saying all along is they didn't want it to go to trial because there are bigger things involved in this case, in my opinion. Right. And it was never going to go to trial because they don't want to be certain things to be brought up and exposed in a trial. Because why would again, my theory explains why Koberger would take a plea deal, right? When they had such a weak case. The defense would have known, even if they didn't know the chain of custody thing with the knife sheet, they knew what the case against Brian was, largely, right? So why would he take a plea? Well, my theory is that he was working as part of, somehow in conjunction with law enforcement, and there's no need to go to trial because they don't want things to be brought up in trial that might hint at what is really going on, the bigger picture.
So the echo's back, and I didn't even say anything.
Huh. I don't know what's going on tonight. Is there a solar flare tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. Apologize, everybody. I don't know why we're getting an echo. It could just be something in StreamYard, because I look at the issues I was having.
All right, you guys need to take over.
Okay. All right.
No so for you and find out, my contention all along for quite a long time is that there was an operation involved with this case. Now, the extraction part, I have talked about that. In my opinion, it's possible that there was another type of thing going on that was not necessarily a WITSEC extraction, but it's hard for me to plead that case because people are looking at all the things that have been released and so on and so forth. Now, I can easily present an argument that would say that there is possibility that there were things that happened that we were told that didn't really happen. However, for me to bring that kind of stuff up, I need to be able to convince other people of that. And there's a lot of information that's come out that seems to point otherwise in other people's
Right.
eyes. So I think that there was an operation involved, and the house itself was played a major role. So not just there might have been a CI or more than one CI, that the house itself was involved
I
somehow. And
agree.
in my opinion, the NIJ funding, they were doing some type of research operation, or they were doing something related to off-campus crime, and that there was something about that house itself. And I think there were other people in the periphery of the case that were also involved with that operation. So as far as extraction goes,
Hmm.
is it possible? I believe it's absolutely possible because that's a thing that happens. We know from years and years of hearing about things decades later how people were extracted in the mob cases. That happened a lot. If an informant was about to be exposed, the FBI would snatch them and put them in witness protection program. This is a real thing that's happened. So do I believe it's possible? I do. And I've said that we never saw them walking into the house. We never saw Kaylee and Maddie walking into the house like we were told early on, right? Remember, we were told, oh, so and so
Hmm.
saw a video of them walking into the house, right? We never saw any of that. So yes, I'm not exactly sure if I'm answering your question, but I keep my options open for possibilities, but I'm very confident that a major operation was involved in it, and it was bigger than what most people would probably realize.
And that's very, very possible. One thing, about Microdot's comment about, many cameras, we've heard, there were cameras inside, there were cameras outside. So, if there were cameras outside that were, why are we not allowed to see them walking into the house? Why is so much of all of the footage redacted, and the audio silenced, and everything else, if everything is so simple here?
Yeah, FOIA and find out. I'm not sure if you're asking me or you're saying that I have been pushing that there's an extraction. I've been pushing that there's an operation. I've haven't talked about like an extraction scenario in a long time. I've always just said that it's possible.
So I just heard the echo twice there, and my mic's muted.
What the heck? And I don't hear any echo. Like, maybe it's I'm on my laptop, I don't know.
I
Um,
think it's through StreamYard because I was getting all kinds of weird stuff earlier.
oh, maybe StreamYard is having issues, I don't know. Hmm.
I don't know. I'm afraid to talk, so I'm just kind of being quiet now because the echo is annoying me too.
Weed
Am I
birds.
echoing?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same setup I've always had with
Yeah, I don't know.
separate earphones, and my mic is not attached to my
Weird.
computer, so I'm not sure if it would be coming from me. It's probably
Yeah, I don't know.
StreamYard.
Probably. Uh,
Look, I'm on the list. I've told you guys this many times. And you know, the things that I talk about and post about, I have no question.
Right Turn Clyde says, I've been put in jail before over a traffic infraction, and yet we have people stealing millions of dollars and no jail time.
Well, two-tiered system. You know, when have you ever seen somebody in the government or a powerful, wealthy elite actually get prosecuted for anything? You know, the only time that ever happens is if they go against what the power structure wants. And, you know, then then you'll see them maybe get a little bit of heat.
Well, I don't know. That's just it. Like I said, if everything is so simple, why does everything they do seem to make point to more difficult and more complex issues?
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things that I used to get annoyed about that I just laugh about now is how when you have those Senate hearings or congressional hearings where they're grilling people, the people they're grilling are smirking. They know they're not going to get in any trouble. It's all a dog and pony show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Dog and Pony Show. You talk about that reminds me of Lisk, Long Island serial killer. Apparently, they are now selling off memorabilia of Rex Heuermann's.
It's all a grift,
Oh,
man. I mean,
yeah,
if people are not black pilled a little bit by this point in time, then you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world. And I'm since I don't know what if the problem's coming from my end or what's happening. DA's trying to figure it out, but I'm just gonna go off
yeah.
script here for a minute and say I
Oh
spoke
no,
I spoke about it in my first video. Uh, you for years and years you would hear people say or you'd see them online saying it's a spiritual war, it's a spiritual war. And I'm not religious, even though I grew up in a religious family when I was young, went to Catholic school and all that. I'm not religious, but I'm starting to think it is a spiritual war because people's energy and their, you know, just your being, when people are negative and constantly being made angry and frustrated and they know they're being lied to, all this stuff, it really affects people in a negative way. And I believe that when people are in a negative state, the power structure knows that they can take advantage better for some reason. I haven't figured out the specifics of it. I have my theories about it. But all this fuckery we've been seeing in the world and the lying to the public and gaslighting the public and horseshit that's been going on, I really think is something that's been going on for a very long time. And
oh
now
yeah.
and now that social media is so ubiquitous and everybody is tapped into it on some level, they can use it with bots to foment outrage and they keep people fighting against each other. And I don't agree with a lot of things. I don't even consider, I think politics is completely fake, completely and absolutely, literally fake, that there are no opposing parties. It's all a theater show to keep the public divided. So I don't buy into it anymore. I don't pay attention to it anymore. And I'm happier because of it. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Andrea Gray asks, has anyone asked Chris Whitcomb about the body cam footage with the cop mentioning one of the people in the house being a CI? Very curious if he says he did or didn't hear it. I don't believe we asked him that in Lee's interview when Lee interviewed him, but I'm not sure if anyone else asked him that particular uh, question or not. Um, I don't
I'll,
believe that you did though, Lee. I
I
don't
want
know
to,
that anybody else has either.
I want to make, I guess I want to see if I can attempt to address that real quick. So I'm getting a lot of frustration from people acting like I softballed or pussyfooted my questions to Christopher Whitcomb, and other people are going to be better with their questions if they get a shot at him. Like I somehow fucking dropped the ball. I want to make sure that I make this clear. I read his book and I knew what he covered and what he didn't cover. I wasn't about to ask him about every theory out there that isn't even remotely touched on in the book. So I've had people who are getting mad at me because why didn't you ask him about Malwich? Well, Malwich isn't even remotely in the book. Why didn't you ask him about so-and-so? That person's not remotely in the book. And so I stuck to the parameters of what he spoke to.
Right.
Chris also told us that he didn't want to look at YouTube community and find out what we were talking about. He wanted to do his own independent research and come up with his own theories. So again, I wasn't going to ask him a bunch of questions about all the fringe theories out there. But unfortunately, I've come under a little bit of attack, like I somehow didn't do my job because I didn't ask him about every fringe theory out there. And I was trying to stick within the parameters of the book. Tell me more about the part of your book that talks about a cleanup. Tell me more about the part of your book that talked about this. That's what I was doing. So unfortunately, I know that for some reason didn't sit well with a lot of people because they wanted me to ask him questions that had anything to do with his book. I feel like that would have been disrespectful. I was there to discuss his book and the things that he had in his book, not to go off script and ask him about stuff that's not in the book. Now, if we have him come back on the show, I'll feel a little bit more liberty to take him outside of the book. But a lot of you want me to ask questions or wanted other people to ask him questions about stuff that isn't remotely touched on in the book. And that's the other problem I have. A lot of people who are complaining about the questions I got asked had not read the book themselves. So they're asking why we didn't ask him about something. That's because we read the book. We read the book and we know what he covered and what he didn't cover. And we were staying within the parameters, not staying within the parameters to be soft selling it. The point being is that it's clear he didn't want to name alternative suspects. So I'm not going to ask him his opinions about Jack DeCour or Brent Kopacka, whatever. I'm not going to ask him that because he, in no shape or form did he ever come close to naming alternative suspects in the book. And I figured that's probably for a reason. He doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole. So I could have challenged him on it and said, well, what do you think about Jack DeCour? I'll guarantee you his answer would have been, I can't speak to that. That's what he would have said. I already know what the answer is because I read the book. I know he wouldn't touch that with the 10-foot pole. So that's part of the reason why that didn't happen.
He was asked about Kopacka, and in my opinion, the way he answered said a lot when he said, oh, well, there was 25 pages that I had to take out from the book, which implies, without saying it, explicitly, that there were things about Kopacka in the book. Yeah. So, I was just announcing
we were going to bring the guest up, and they're gone before I can get them up. So, oh well.
That's what I was just going to say. E-Potty was here. E-Potty, come back up.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're going to get the E-Potty in a second, and then they were gone.
Yeah, come back up, guys.
There he is.
E-Potty. E-Potty, before we lose them, E-Potty, you're on. What's up?
Hello.
And we have no audio. Hear you. The truth is out there. Is that an X-Files reference right there? And there's that fucking echo again. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind with this echo. I am losing my mind on the echo. And by the way, I do have the PDF that somebody was asking me to read the PDF. I do have the PDF, and we could read the PDF if we want to cover the PDF. It's extremely technical. And so I can't explain it to you because that's what I feel. Part of the reason why I didn't want to read the article is because people are going to ask me to explain what it means. And there's parts that I can't understand what it's saying. That's why I was digesting like multiple pages, and it's very technical. So I can't explain it to you. The best I could do is read it for you, because I think what somebody said, if I just read it to people, everybody will get it. Well, if everybody gets it, everybody's smarter than me, because there was parts of me that I couldn't figure out what they were saying. So if everybody else is going to get it but me, that'd be good to know that I apparently am not smart enough to figure it out. But your interview with Chris was amazing. Please don't think you didn't do enough. Million questions and only so much time. Can't do a 72-hour. By the way, thank you, Microdot, very much. I had a 2-hour pre-recorded, and Chris came on for another 2 hours. We got him for 4 hours. Other people got him for 4 hours as well. He did like 12 hours of interviews in a matter of days. And unfortunately, a lot of those questions were the same questions that were asked. Also, he dodged and I'm not saying he dodged for nefarious reasons, but he dodged the same kind of questions over and over again because he wasn't going to tell you who he thinks did it or if he can't guilty or not. He can't. That would get him in big trouble. Right.
Especially because for people who don't know the publishing world, they when a publisher, says, no, we have to take out these 25 pages because this could put you at risk legally, it could put us at risk legally, so we're
Yeah.
not going to do that. So there's no way that he could sit there and start naming his alternative suspect suspicions, because it could bring, people could start suing him, suing HarperCollins and so forth. So no. And when you interview someone, which you do an excellent job of in any interview I've ever seen you do, you stick to their book. You're not going to start asking them stuff about this, that, and everything else. You try to stick mainly to the book, at least for your first interview. Now, if Lee is granted another interview, that, like he said, he could get into other things, but you did an amazing job.
Well, thank you very much.
I thought
Yeah,
it was a good. You did a great interview. I mean, you were like I said it before. I'm going to say it again. You were the only person that
Yep.
straight out of the gate, you pulled the state of the deep
the
on
Fed
them
thing.
and said,
Yeah.
people are going to say you're a Fed. You're trying to
Yeah.
steer the narrative. You're the only person who addressed that,
Yeah.
which is right, exactly what I would be thinking, and you did it. So.
And to be fair, I don't want to speak too much for Chris, but Christopher Wickham told me I did a great job because you're great at interviewing. So Christopher didn't have a problem with my interview skills. I know some of you thought that I dropped the ball on it, but I he didn't mind being challenged a little bit, and I think it was a great interview, and he enjoyed the interview, and so it was great. So yeah, I don't want to defend myself all day long on it, but I am getting a lot of people busting my balls, like that attorney you saw, Robin, today, who is like, well, all these YouTubers are just giving him garbage. I dare him to come on my show. I'll give him real questions. Like, really? I bet you didn't read his book, and you're going to give him real questions because you didn't read his book.
Yeah. Did you actually read it?
So I
Look, if I would have, like, when we had him live on the live,
yeah.
I had a lot of questions, but I didn't want to derail because so many people had questions from the chat and you guys had so many questions. I didn't want to be the guy who tries to come in and derail the interview. Like, so I didn't go there. It's not my place to do that. I was happy to ask a few questions and then listen and pay attention to things. I wasn't going to go crazy. What up, 1-1?
So I'm going to take a risk because I think this is oh my God, the echo's back. I'm going to take a risk. And I'm going to read this document. I think it's the one they were talking about when people were saying, look, if you read the summary, by the way, I disagree. I think I'm a fairly smart guy. The summary is even harder to understand than the long document. So I'm going to read the part of the long document and see if you guys can, because some of it I can follow along with. The summary was harder, in my opinion, to follow along. So if this is the document, let me read it to you and see if you guys can follow the logic. Okay. I don't know the context.
From Cyray?
No, this is, from what I understand, this is how do I explain it? From what I understand, this is a user, someone who's been following the case.
Oh, I
who
got
did some AI tools and asked questions and got it to come to an answer about the contact that Dylan Mortensen put on her phone and how that could have happened. And then I think they sent this to Ann Taylor saying, hey, this explains that contact, and that fucking echo is gonna drive me insane. All right, so let me see if I can do this. I'm going to put it up on screen and we'll read until you guys decide, stop, for the love of God, DA, stop reading. Oh God, hold on. I'm going to mute Joe just for a second and see if it goes away. All right. Test, 1 2 1 2. Nope. I'm echoing. Nope. Hold on. No echo. I hear no echo. You guys hear no? I don't hear echo. All right. So let's unmute Robin. Hold on. Echo. Oops. Unmute yourself, Robin. Okay. Test. 1 2 1 2. It's coming through you, it looks like. Let me mute myself. Well, I can't, if I mute myself, we're not gonna, yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna mute you, Robin. I'm gonna unmute Joe. Test, 1 2 1 2. Test. Can you talk, Joe?
Yeah, yo.
No echo between Joe and I. Okay, let's go back to Robin only. Test, 1 2 1 2. Test. Okay, I don't hear the echo right now. Robin, stop, talk.
Okay.
All right.
Do you hear an echo?
Not right now. So fucking hell if I can figure it out. All right. I think it comes and goes. I think it's coming and go. It probably is Spotify. All right. Here it is. So I think this is the analysis. Technical analysis of the 3:51 a.m. and 3-second system event. Identity, Brittany Fernandez. Device, iPhone from survivor Dylan Mortensen. Artifact source, interaction c.db. Z contacts created. The anomaly. At 3:51 and 3 seconds a.m., Dylan Mortensen's iPhone generated a formal identity record for Brittany Fernandez. This is the alleged contact she created in her phone. This digital event occurred exactly 24 seconds before the subject, Molly McMichael, was captured on the 1112 camera frame. The hidden signature. The entry contains no app bundle ID. In iOS forensics, this blank space is a diagnostic indicator that the write was handled by the system kernel or background daemon, e.g. sharing GD or sharing D, rather than a user-facing application. Proposed mechanism, the reactive promotion. Forensic logic dictates that the phone did not learn a new name from the air at 3:51 a.m. Instead, the device recognized a physical arrival using data it already possessed. So as I understand it, what the person's saying is when Molly came within access range of the house, that activated something on Dylan's phone and it recognized something off of Molly's phone. It wasn't that, from what I understand, they're saying Dylan didn't enter an entry into the phone. Molly's phone got close enough to the house that Dylan's phone picked up something in the back end cache or whatever of the phone. Step 1, prior ingestion, the ghost cache. The name Brittany Fernandez was already stored in a background system cache, Siri suggestions, Spotlight Index, or AppSync. This could have occurred via a shared contact or previous notification or a common app interaction. Step 2, the wireless kick physical trigger at 3:51:03 a.m. The subject's phone broadcasting standard BLE Wi-Fi discovery packets entered the radio range of the house. Step 3, the system wake, the wireless signal forced Dylan's phone out of its idle state. This is verifiable hardware event recorded in power log, wake _ reason equals Wi-Fi or BT. The promotion. Upon waking, the system kernel matched the incoming hardware ID to the Brittany name in its background cache and formally promoted the identity to the Z contact table. So what it sounds like they're saying, and again, maybe it's too technical for me, they're saying that Dylan's phone was just in an idle mode. When Molly came within range of Dylan's phone, it woke up on basically receiving a packet through the air, either a Wi-Fi packet or a Bluetooth packet, that the phone then woke up and registered that contact with Molly's phone, which is different than Dylan entering a contact. This is my best guess of understanding this document. Supplemental hypothesis, account access. While the reactive promotion stands on its own as a hardware event, the presence of the identity string may be further explained by account activity, account bridge. If the device was used to access an account associated with the delivery, e.g. Xana's DoorDash, the metadata would have been preloaded into the system's background caches, facilitating the 3:51 a.m. recognition. In-app metadata. This would also account for the reported 3:54 a.m. status inquiry, having trouble finding it? ? If sent via an in-app chat, this communication would be hidden from standard Celebrite SMS iMessaging reports as it resides in the shared app group containers. All right. So, summary of probative value. The 3:51:03 a.m. event is the digital witness of the arrival. The alignment of a hardware-triggered system wake-up and an identity promotion within 24 seconds of the subject's arrival is a statistical anomaly that strongly contradicts the random maintenance. It suggests a real-time recognition of a known hardware identifier. And again, to try to put this into simple terms, Dylan's phone was simply idle and picked up a packet or a signal within range of it, and then that promoted that signal, and it made it, it was basically told to us that Dylan entered a contact, when maybe all it did was it woke up when it discovered a packet that it recognized. Recommended defense actions. Verify power log. Extract the PL wake logger event wake table from 3:51:03 and confirm it. The wake reason is wireless based. So what what this document is saying is that it's basically, from what I understand, sent to Ann Taylor saying, look, if I were you, I would have your team do this. I would go look in this log for the wake up event, the packet that woke up Dylan's phone. So that's what I think. And I'm doing my best on the fly to try to interpret what this is saying. The grep unified logs, search the .log archive for sharing D and wireless proximity status changes at the exact timestamp. So again, proving the theory, this theory that the phone woke up because a packet was received over the air and it woke up the phone from an idle state. Search ghost caches, perform a manual SQL light search of Siri suggestions and cosmic comms center databases for the first instance of the string Brittany Fernandez. So anyways, there it is. I think the longer form was a little easier to understand. That's the best I could do. If somebody thinks I got it wrong, they could try to correct it. Sausage Biscuit says I'm doing great, so maybe I got close. And I got that fucking echo back. Oh my God. Somebody else take over.
Jen S. Sausage Biscuit says she doesn't know the technical lingo either, but essentially it woke up. Dylan's phone woke up without her knowledge and recognized Molly's phone and added so Molly was using some kind of an alias that Dylan's phone recognized. Am I getting that right?
I think what they're saying is I think what they're saying is that some shared contact before them in the past was in their phone system with that name. And so when the packet arrived, it recognized and associated with something like maybe Molly and Dylan had previous interactions before on their phones. So when Molly got in range of the house, Dylan's phone recognized a previous engagement between the two of them and promoted that, something to that effect.
Okay. But they're telling us that Dylan actually physically added a contact. Are they misleading us with that?
Well, that's just it. Everything's about the wording. So,
yeah.
In one of the legal documents, they said Dylan added a contact into her phone. Now, is that just wording that they got wrong? And what it really means is the phone pass it. Again, the question is, was Dylan awake and added that contact, or did she passively, was she sleeping and the phone just woke up because a packet was received in the air and got promoted on her phone? So and again, the nuances about all of it and what it means is very, very complex. So I'm not prepared to tell you what it means and what it doesn't mean, but that's the gist of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's way above my intelligence level about how that happens. So, packets and info and whatever. Oh, hi, Patty's back.
You there?
Hello.
Technical difficulties still, unfortunately.
Yep. Still.
It looks like they're trying to mute their mic and unmute their mic so that they're aware that we're not hearing them. So I'm not sure what's going on with the audio source. Check your audio sources. Make sure that you're promoting the right mic. Inside the settings of StreamYard, it'll tell you what microphone to use. So if you go to little gear icon, if you see the little gear icon in StreamYard's back end, double check that the input source is the right microphone source.
Yeah,
One says, I'm done with screaming prisoners from the psych ward yelling, I need to wash my ass. Fantastic. What a great job you've got tonight. That's a great job right there. I'm going to get a drink, by the way. I'll be right back. Keep the show going. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's got to be interesting.
Better you than me.
Yep. I don't envy you your job tonight, Sir 1-1. But yeah, I don't know what all that means, but that's what it sounds like, is that on one hand, they're telling us that the contact was entered automatically, but maybe the contact was already, okay, guys, you got to tell me if I'm wrong here. Are you saying that the contact was already there, but it just woke up Dylan's phone when Molly supposedly came close and said, hello, I see you, I know you, or but we're being told that she actually physically put the contact in her phone.
Right.
So that would be a big deal to me if that's the case. That would absolutely change some things.
Yeah, I'm not good with all that technical stuff. I mean, the gist of it for me is the same. I figured, all right, so she didn't add a contact herself into her phone. Something was triggered on her phone that recognized somebody else's phone. But the part that I'm confused about is, where does the Brittany Fernandez name come into play? Somebody mentioned it in the chat? Did Molly have an alias on her phone? Because you know how
Yeah.
when you get a phone, you put
Right.
Robin's iPhone or so and so's phone or whatever.
Right.
Because she might have been using somebody else's phone. It's possible.
Maybe. Was she known to use such an alias for any reason? I mean that's I just yeah. Sasha's Biscuit says thrive off the grid. Explain it to Robin. Yes, you're going to have to because Robin is technically savvy, but not that technically savvy. So, what's that? Well, yeah, I'll throw out the link. Yeah, hang on. Let me throw the link out. Yeah, you guys are welcome to come up. This is a great night to do it. Let me throw the link in the chat.
Hey, Robin, I think I figured out the echo.
What is it?
Are you using like the speaker from your laptop? Is that where you're hearing the sound from?
Yeah, that's
And
where I always hear it from.
are you using the mic on your laptop?
No.
What mic are you using?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm using the mic on my laptop like I always do.
Yeah, sometimes that happens when you have I've had it happen on my laptop too when I tested it out when I first got this
I
laptop.
turned it down a little bit. Is it better now?
It was probably just the volume from the speaker was slightly bleeding into the microphone.
Yeah, that's probably
Okay.
the case, but
It's not a big deal. Like when before I set up this new computer, I was testing all the hardware, the speaker and the microphone and
Yeah.
everything, and it'll do that a little bit if the speaker's up to a certain
Okay.
volume.
We threw out the link, so come on up and join us. Yeah.
Yeah, the technical stuff I
Yeah,
get the
maybe Heart
gist
of
of
Gold
what it
knows.
is, but I don't understand it.
Gotta explain it for us laymen who don't know what all the packets
he said
and
Dylan's
all
phone
the
recognized
whatever.
Molly's wireless signal to an existing contact, likely DoorDash.
Oh,
Right.
here
That's
we go.
yeah.
Layman.
Heart of Gold. Hey, what's going on, Heart of Gold? You there?
Sorry, I didn't. Hello?
Hello.
There we
Hello.
go.
I didn't have my earphones on. Okay, here's my theory on the Dylan contact. I
Okay.
think that Molly had an alias called Brittany Fernandez, and
Okay.
because they listed that little saying in there about Xana's what did it say about, are you having trouble finding it?
Yeah.
I think that Dylan had something to do because remember, I don't know if it was on your show or another interview, but remember how Chris was being kind of cryptic about whether about Xana's stomach contents and whether she ate the food. He wouldn't really
Yeah.
answer that and that sort of
Right.
thing.
Right.
And so I think that the Brittany Fernandez is an alias for Molly Michaels. And
Yeah.
I think that when they got close to it or whatever, their phones got close to it, that was like almost like a cryptic message. I think that Dylan sent that, are you having trouble finding it? And that's what that Brittany Fernandez in her history or her cache, and that's what made it put in that with some sort of software that made it put in that contact. That was like some sort of cryptic message when she wrote that. Are you having trouble finding it?
I mean, and that's one scenario. Another scenario I could think of, if I understand it correctly, is let's say Molly and Dylan's phone had talked to each other at some point in the past. And then let's say Molly, and this is all hypothetical, completely pulling this out of my ass. Let's say Molly then didn't want it known that she was there, so she changes her phone's ID to say Brittany Fernandez is some random name that she makes up instead of Molly. Then when she gets in range of a phone that's contacted her before, the two phones communicate and it says, oh, who's this? Oh, it's Brittany Fernandez, because it recognizes the phone, a phone that it's communicated with before, but the name's changed on it. And so it now registers as Brittany Fernandez. So could it have been something like that, where Molly had changed her name in her phone, but the phones had talked to each other before. So therefore, when it woke up the phone, it registered it as something new that it hadn't seen before, because it doesn't recognize the name, but it does recognize the phone, something to that effect.
Exactly. And you said it better than I did, but I think the reason why it did that was because she sent that text, which is why it says it in that paper that you just showed. She sent a text to a phone number that wasn't in her contacts, and it was just the phone number. So when it went back to her phone, it added that contact into her phone as Brittany Fernandez instead of Molly McMichael.
Yeah. And I know that there is a theory that we've said it a lot on this show. Cell phone activity is not proof of life. So people keep using the Xana had to have been alive at 4 something in the morning because she was on TikTok or whatever. And again, I've said it a million times, that's not proof of life. So some people are saying, look, it was Dylan that ordered, and we've heard this before. You can order DoorDash from a web browser, not from your phone, and you can do it in a way that doesn't even tell you who actually ordered the food, kind of thing. So there's ways that somebody could have spoofed the food order. Why would you do that? Well, you would do that if you had a vested interest in shifting the timeline away from the actual murders when they actually happen. So if you wanted to establish a new timeline, you might create some kind of digital trail that could be pointed to a certain time using some kind of fuckery. So that could have been a case.
Well, for sure, you can bet that they all had, I mean, look, they had private contacts with the rideshare drivers, like outside of the apps, Lyft or Uber, right? They would just do it outside of the apps, right? That's why Gower, they were dealing with him directly, not through the rideshare app. So chances are they all ordered DoorDash at that house, right? So they had probably all at one time or another ordered from, and may have done a similar thing with the drivers. Like they had their actual numbers as well, and could interact with them too. So that would explain why her phone may have recognized the DoorDash driver's phone, because at some point I'm sure they've all ordered DoorDash a lot,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and along this line of Thrive Off the Grid saying, yeah, now you get it. This is the very thing it's implying. Dylan made the order and she knows. Well, so yes, for example, if you have an account through DoorDash, and I don't use DoorDash, but if you have an account through DoorDash, it's possible you can install the DoorDash app on any phone that you want to, and then it's going to ask you to log in with username and password. So Dylan could have, or anybody in theory could have, logged in with Xana's username and password, if she knew Xana's username and password, and logged in to place an order to make it look like Xana's account ordered it, but maybe it came from somebody else's phone and it wasn't Xana who actually placed the order. It was Xana's account. You see what I'm saying? Because you could log in, if you have got username and password, you can install the app on any phone and log in with their account. And the digital forensics would tell you whether it was actually sent from Xana's phone or if it was sent from somebody else's phone. But the account itself would register whoever signed into the app. So,
and think about it, if you're all roommates, you might have had each other's password, because you could be like, hey, I'm buying DoorDash tonight or whatever, and just give your roommates your password, right? You could just say, hey, I'm going to buy DoorDash and here's my password, and like they might have all known each other's passwords depending on who was paying that night or whatever. Like,
Right.
hey, I'm gonna jump in the shower. Want you? I'm buying DoorDash tonight, or Taco Bell or whatever, and just
Mm-hmm.
giving.
Yeah,
So
I
back to
totally. I think that's probably what happened. I mean, look, that house, man. I'm sure they were no stranger to ordering DoorDash late at night, and
Right.
they probably all had the DoorDash drivers' phone numbers. I mean, if they would do it with rideshare drivers where they were calling them directly or texting them directly, why wouldn't they do it with the local DoorDash drivers?
Right.
It's not like a big city. You're going to know all the drivers. You're going to know everybody.
So two more things before I jump off. So Ethan's phone, he didn't have anything on his phone like midnight, like after midnight. So there's like no activity, no punching in until like after midnight. So who knows what was going on with him from
Right.
midnight till after. And then the other thing, I sent you something in Discord that maybe you guys can look into, or for you something about the knife sheath. So I sent
Okay.
it to you in Discord. Okay.
To
Okay.
who'd
To
you send it to in
I'll
Discord?
look
I
for
sent
it.
it to
Okay.
Robin.
Okay.
That's kind of shady and like trying to figure
Okay.
out what those guys are, what the police officers are doing.
All right.
that.
Thank you so
Okay, I
much.
see it.
All right.
Okay.
I was gonna say
Thank
love
you.
you. I was gonna say love you. I always do that when I get off the phone. So love you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
FBI.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Kids. All right. It was done to signal exit and was asked for in code. I have found information on it, but I have not. There's that echo back is driving nuts. But I have found not. But I have it not shown it because it's difficult to understand. Says that an online order needs to be made. Yeah, that's the problem with these technical things. Is I generally, generally, God damn it, generally. That sounds like. Movie.
That's the car.
Anyway, yeah. Wee-ha!
Dukes of Hazzard.
All right. So with a generally, I generally like to wrap my head around this stuff off of the live and then come explain it to you after I've wrapped my head around it. It's harder for me to do it on the fly because then I get myself spun into questions and circles and making mistakes. And so I'm not usually the kind of guy who likes to read big technicals and then try to figure out on the fly. I like to wrap my head around it first and then come show you after I've double checked myself to make sure that I'm right about what I'm thinking. But so it's difficult.
Okay, on another subject. We've had more snow here this week than we had all freaking winter. And it's May.
Nice.
Wow.
The universe is laughing at me right now. I mean, I just essentially bought a motorcycle and it's like 150 miles away from here. And the mountain passes are going to be covered in gravel, right? So I'm not riding a brand new motorcycle 150 miles through gravel filled roads and shit. So it's just now I'm in a holding pattern. So I'm just like, all right, I got to forget about that for at least a few weeks.
Where are you, General Lee? Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so we got that damn echo again still. Here's the deal. We're about at the time we like to go. Let's fire away. If anybody has a last question or comment you want us to address, let's take one or two more questions and comments, and then we'll wrap up because the technicals tonight are just killing us, or at least it's killing me. Maybe it's my OCD, but this constant echo is driving me insane.
Robin, I have a microphone that I'll give you.
What's weird is she's on all the time. It doesn't have that echo. That's what's weird.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell's happening.
But I think StreamYard is acting weird tonight too, though, because I've never had all those kind of problems like that, where it's just like cutting off my sound and I can't hear anybody.
And being somewhat familiar with iPhones and iOS, I've seen that happen. But as I think you are saying, it will update a contact only after having the context saved in your phone previous. Yeah. Right. Right, which is suggesting that in that theory, it's suggesting, as they said, Molly and Dylan's phones have already communicated with each other in the past, but maybe updated information when they got in contact with each other again and something had changed between the two of them. So it just updated the information that it had last seen from that phone.
I understand what these guys are saying in the chat now.
Yeah.
So what basically that does imply certain things that they, like everything else, they conveniently left out in this case, that there was previous interaction among some of these people that it's being presented in a completely different light.
Right. And look, there's reasons to believe, there's reasons. Okay. No, there are rumors out there that Molly might have been actually delivering drugs to that neighborhood on a regular basis, that lights come on in the area when Molly shows up because it's like, oh, she's making her rounds and here comes all the goodies. It's not food. The DoorDash delivery could be a cover for making late night deliveries and dropping off other things. And so if she's a mule of some sort or a courier to deliver people's orders of non-food related things, then did people have, again, it goes back to the whole, was that house a drug house? Were there drugs running through the house? And did somebody snitch on the drug operation and that's what got everybody killed? Something like that.
And just one quick thing about the whole phone thing, right? Now people that know about the technicalities of this stuff know it, and it's not like a surprise to them, but phones are like not just tracking devices now for the people that own them. They're surveying everything that's around them and picking up things that are around them. And, that is the direction that we're going to go down that road a lot more quickly now.
Well, hell, even your Roomba is spying on you. Your Roomba vacuum.
Yeah.
Spying on you.
For sure.
I mean, what didn't they say that there was an Alexa in that house?
Yes, which is I think missing, right? There was an Alexa in the house that's missing. I think.
Yeah. Convenient.
Where is the Alexa?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And because look, here's the thing about Alexa. Here's the thing about those devices, like Alexas. I don't know exactly their thing, but listen, those devices generally are always listening for commands. It's always listening in your house, listening for commands, waiting for you to say something like, "Hey Google" or "Hey Alexa" or whatever. So it's constantly listening. They also, a lot of places like Google, for example, will let you go, if you know how to do it, to the website and say, what have you heard in my house? My wife just did this the other day. They had recordings of us in our house talking to each other in our house on their website because it's constantly listening to us, listening for possible instructions to it. And so my wife was able to go and say, show me what you heard in our house. And it had stuff. It had stuff that we were talking privately in our house about. We've had Alexa in our house answer things that we were not talking to it and just, oh, would you like to know about that? And like, fuck, I wasn't talking to you, bitch. So it's constantly listening. Now,
that's the last thing I would ever buy is one of those things.
But why is that important? Because that device could have recorded screams, torture, killing, murders, could have recorded the actual things that were going on because it's constantly listening. And the fact that that device is missing is a problem. Now, granted, you don't even need the device. What you need is the account. You need to be able to log into the account on Amazon, for example, and say, show me what you've heard on this device. But without the device, maybe you don't have the registration ID. You don't know what device to look for. So there could be somebody who's trying to keep you from looking at what did that device hear and when.
Well, actually, it is stored on Amazon's servers. I was just reading a little bit. And all you need is to get into your own account and to be able to. So if someone has your Amazon account credentials, they could log into your Amazon account and listen to what's recorded on your Alexa.
Yeah. Yes.
And, years ago, I can't remember, quite a while ago, I remember reading about how Amazon signed a massive contract with the intelligence agencies to store data. Well, what do you think? Whose data do you think they're storing? I mean,
so JJ, I'm gonna go right to your deep state policies if I can get past this fucking echo. All right, listen. So here's the thing. This is the thing that kills me. They have essentially circumvented the need to get a warrant to spy on your house Because if, for example, Amazon or Google has a device in your house that's constantly listening, and their user agreement, the agreement that you signed up and said, I agree to the terms when I put this in my house, it'll say, we will continually monitor your house to help better our algorithm, to help understand. So they let you know in your user agreement, that 65 pages of mice type that you didn't read, that we will constantly be listening to your house. So then comes the 3-letter agencies, and they go to Amazon and says, hey, look, I want a top secret agreement between you and your company that I can monitor your devices. So I now have ears in everybody's house, and I don't have to go for a search warrant anymore. I can just, do they have a Google device? Do they have a Alexa? Great. Then I want to listen to their house in real time. And they could do that with classified agreements between the companies, and just kind of avoid the whole needing to get a warrant to spy on your house.
Yeah, 1-1. You and me both, man.
Yeah, we don't have that.
I don't subscribe to that, having those things in the house. Like one of my ex girlfriends had one in there, and I'm to myself, I'm thinking, why would people volunteer to have a spying mechanism in their home with a company that basically stores all the intelligence data for the intelligence agencies on their servers? It just blows my mind, man. I don't know.
Well, you need that. You're CIA, so you.
I mean, it's just crazy. I've been shadow banned to the high heavens, like really badly on other platforms. Straight up, like really bad. And I mean, I can basically prove it. But they just, when you reach out to them, as I have many, many times on different platforms, they just go, oh, we don't shadow ban people. Right. Just
By the
like
way,
you told the public about all the other shit you were doing behind the scenes.
I'm sure you know this, Peaches Goldberry, but I'm telling it for everybody else's benefit. These devices almost always have mini names that you can give it for this very reason. Because if you have somebody in the house that's named Alexa, and it's constantly waking up when you're talking to somebody in your house, you can give it, usually they have predefined names that you can give it, and you can sometimes program your own name for the wake up call. So you don't have to live with Alexa. If you have somebody named Alexa in your house, you can say, like we did.
Yeah,
we did that to our device. We gave it a different name so that it wouldn't wake up for things that sounded too close to something else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, those things are crazy, man. And like when they started coming around and people were buying them, and I was like, wait, you're volunteering to do that? Like, that's insane to me. Like, this is me personally, because I don't trust any of these big corporations. Some of them are a necessary evil, but I just, man, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Like all my phones, I go in, I never allow it to track my physical movements. They all have those things that can track your actual physical movement and things like that. I have all that shit turned off. Now, does that mean they can't still do it? I'm sure they can, but I am not volunteering for it.
Oh, by the way, as an aside, before we wrap, 2 things real quick. Yes, you can ask your Alexa, hey, Alexa, what other names can you use? It'll tell you what names it can do. Like, for example, we had one in Echo Dot. So you can call it Echo if you want instead of Alexa. So I think if you just ask it, you can say, hey, Alexa, what other names can I use for you? And then it'll be like, you can use Echo, this or that, whatever. So that's something you can do. Speaking of technology, however, we got that new kitten. This is just an aside. We got that new kitten I told you about. So we ordered a second litter robot, and the litter robot weighs the cat every single time it goes in. It tests its urine content and it's in and whether it's sick or not. It'll tell you how many times it's gone to the bathroom per day, whether it's had weight changes, everything. And it recognizes, and it has facial recognition on your cats. So as the cat steps into the box, it literally knows what cat just walked in, and it'll send you text messages. Hey, Pumpkin just took a poop again. This is like the 3rd time she's pooped this week. You might want to check to see if her diet needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
Do we get you one of those? Do you need
get the
facial
crime
recognition
cat
when you go to the potty?
Technology, man.
It's crazy shit, man.
All right, let's wrap up there, guys. I appreciate the show tonight. Even though it went off the rails, we had a good, solid audience all night long. You guys are troopers for staying with us. Thank you so much. By the way, if you like this channel a lot, I do ask that you do us a favor and watch some of our other content as well, so we can help train the algorithm that our people don't just listen to Idaho 4, that they're interested in things. Granted, if you're not interested in other things, then don't do it. But if you are remotely interested, please help us out. We're trying to train the algorithm that we're not just Idaho 4. Thank you so much for coming. Do you guys have any parting thoughts you want to share before we wrap up?
I'm not going to give a public service announcement today, so people are probably sick of hearing me.
Thank you so much, Robin, for your introduction to your new channel and explaining their color red. I didn't know the significance of red, so that was very cool. Did you put the link to your channel out there, or did you?
Yes, I did.
You should put it out there one more time.
Okay.
As well as JJ's State of the Deep. Probably should put his channel out there as well.
Yeah, I think Amanda did earlier, but yeah, we should do that again.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the show. Appreciate that very, very much. There's Robin's channel on the screen, Indigenous Justice Bearing Witness. So that's the website, at Indigenous Justice Bearing Witness. JJ's at State of the Deep, right? Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, at
YouTube. Yeah, State of the Deep, at State of the Deep. If you should be able to find it at State of the Deep.
All right. All right, that's it, everybody. Have a great night. See you next time tomorrow night, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take it easy.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.